Today, we're going to step into a very solemn courtroom in the wizarding world. A trial is underway before the Wizengamot for a crime that, well, it's a crime you can barely wrap your head around. The murder of an 11-year-old boy on his way to his first day at Hogwarts.
He never reached Hogwarts. Those were the opening words from the prosecution. It's just a simple, brutal fact that sets the stage for everything we're about to explore. An 11-year-old kid, filled with all that excitement for a new life of magic, and he just vanished. This is the story of the search for justice that came next.
And what's really staggering is just how fast this whole tragedy unfolds. Think about it. September 1st, he gets on the train. By that evening, he's gone. For 3 agonizing days, auras are scrambling, and then they make a horrific discovery. Just 2 days after that, they have their suspect in custody. It's a blur of grief and investigation.
So let's go back to the beginning, right to that initial confusion and the rising panic. How does a child simply disappear from a moving, magically protected train? It just doesn't make sense.
This is Professor Neville Longbottom, the one who greets the first years at the station, and his testimony is just pure bewilderment. He explains that one minute, Corey Potter was seen on the train, laughing with his new friends, and the next, he was just gone. His trunk is still sitting on the rack, but the boy himself vanished into thin air.
And then you have Headmistress McGonagall's testimony, which immediately raises the stakes. She gets it. She understands that a missing child with the last name Potter carries a terrifying weight. This wasn't just some student getting turned around. Right from the very start, she suspected something far, far more sinister was at play, and she contacted magical law enforcement immediately.
So how do you get from a baffling mystery to a criminal case? Well, the prosecution starts to build its case, piece by damning piece.
The crime scene itself, it reveals this deliberate, symbolic kind of horror. See, the body wasn't hidden, it was displayed. The location, the exact same graveyard where Lord Voldemort was resurrected, and that rune carved into the boy's chest, rebirth. This was clearly a message, a horrifying echo of a past they all thought was gone.
Magical forensics then finds something even more specific, the curse Mors Venenum. Now, this isn't a spell you use in a duel. Its only purpose is to defile a body. This detail just zeroes in on the killer's intent. It's a signature curse, one used by Voldemort's inner circle. This makes it not just a murder, but a statement of allegiance.
And right here, this is the prosecution's smoking gun. Priori incantatem is like the magical version of fingerprint analysis and ballistics all in one. It reveals the last 2 spells cast from the accuser's wand. First, Avada Kedavra, the killing curse. Second, the desecration curse, Mors Venenum. The magical signatures are a perfect match to those found on the victim. There's just no ambiguity here at all.
The evidence is cold. It's clinical. But the impact of this crime is so devastatingly human. The court now has to face the immeasurable grief of the boy's parents, Harry and Hermione Potter.
Harry Potter's testimony, it's just heartbreaking in its simplicity. He describes this moment that's so familiar to any parent, watching his excited son get on the train for a huge new adventure. He remembers the grin, the messy hair, and that final, big, enthusiastic wave. It was a perfectly normal, happy memory that was stolen from him and twisted into a final goodbye.
And then Hermione Potter's testimony forces the court to confront the sheer horror of what was done. She has to describe the moment she identified her son's body, not just dealing with the loss, but with the calculated cruelty of that carved rune. She calls it exactly what it is, a mockery, a symbol of pure hatred defiling her child.
So all of this leads to the climax of the trial. The accused, Erasmus Roll, he finally takes the stand, and the prosecution begins to just dismantle his defense, step by methodical step.
Raoul's defense is pretty straightforward. It boils down to 2 things. It wasn't me, and it wasn't my wand. He's arguing that he's being framed, that someone stole his wand and used it. It's a simple denial, and it's up to the prosecution to prove it's a complete lie.
Okay, so first up is Roll's claim that his wand was stolen, but the prosecution immediately counters with the holster itself. It's blood-keyed. That means it literally won't release the wand to anyone but him, and the Aurors found it totally intact. So the question for the court is simple. How could it possibly have been stolen? His next claim is that he wasn't even there, but again, magical forensics prove otherwise. The wards that were protecting the old barn where Corey was held captive, they have a magical signature.
And it's a perfect match to Rao's wand. This proves he didn't just visit the scene, he actively secured it.
But the final, most damning proof is physical. There's a fragment of Rule's robe that was torn when they arrested him. They tested it, and the results were just undeniable. It was stained with Corey Potter's blood. His claim that he never touched the boy is completely shattered by this one tragic piece of evidence.
But the final blow comes from Roll's own mouth. When he was arrested, he blurted out, "I never saw the boy breathe again." And the prosecutor, Percy Weasley, he just seizes on it. That one little word, again, is an accidental confession. It implies there was a before. It implies he did see Corey Potter alive. And with that single question, his entire defense just unravels.
The evidence has been presented. The arguments have been made. All that's left now is the court's decision, and the enduring emptiness that's going to follow no matter what.
The Wizengamot retreats, and in that silence, everything just hangs in the balance. The weight of all that evidence, the horror of the crime, the raw pain of the family, it all rests on the decision they're about to make.
The verdict is delivered, it's unanimous. Guilty on all counts. It's a moment of legal finality, but it happens in a chamber that's still just thick with grief.
And the sentence, it's the most severe the wizarding world can impose. Not a lifetime in Azkaban, but the Veil. That strange archway down in the Department of Mysteries that no one ever comes back from. It's a permanent, absolute removal from the world.
But a month after the trial, Hermione is standing at her son's grave, and her words really remind us of the devastating truth. The verdict can't reverse the crime. Justice is not restoration. She's not thinking about the trial, she's not thinking about the sentence, she's thinking of all the ordinary moments her son will never, ever have.
And this brings us to the real question at the heart of this whole ordeal. The law has run its course, right? The guilty party has been punished, but for the family, for the community, a void just remains. Justice can provide an answer, but it can't fill the emptiness left by loss. All that's left is memory, grief, and trying to find a way to carry on.